Okay, today's video is going to be a video that I think really needs to be shown in the horse world. I think a lot of us as trainers, I do the same thing. I post videos of things that I think are good. And so if I am trying to advertise my horse training business, I post a video that is good. I want people to I'm not gonna post a video of the worst horse I have in training. It's gonna be one of the better horses. And so I think sometimes when we do that, we get unrealistic expectations. And so I got a horse here that's been in training for a couple weeks now. So this is not the most amazing horse. It also isn't nearly the worst horse. It's somewhere in the median. It's the typical kind of average horse. It wasn't super spooky. Also wasn't a complete deadhead. It was, it would look around a little bit and get a little worried about a few things, but not really spooky. Not the most athletic horse that I've ever worked with. Also, wasn't horrible. Wasn't a horrible mover. Yeah, just middle of the road. And so I thought it'd be a good video to kind of say, hey, if I personally took a horse to a trainer and after 2 weeks I came and watched it being worked and this is what it did, I'd be like, yeah, good. The other aspect you need to keep in mind is how much you're paying your colt starter. I happen to be fairly expensive. I think I'm worth it, but others may disagree. I charge, my current rate is $500 a week, $2,000 a month. So if your guy is less than that, let's say he's $1,000 a month, and he's getting at least half of it done, it's half as good as what I got done in 2 weeks, then he's the same rate as me because he's getting, he's charging half as much and getting half as much done. So if he's getting more than that, then you're getting a deal. So yeah, that's kind of the deal. So we got this little girl here. Just got her settled up. Of course, I want to be able to catch them in the pen that they're in. I want them to walk. I want them to be able to saddle up while they stand still. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. We're going to do just a hair bit of groundwork and then bridle her, and then we're going to go show you what she does. And like I say, I just want to have a standard that people can say, hey, this is what you would typically expect from somebody that starts colts for a living that does a really good job. If they're a professional colt starter, this is I think what they're gonna do in a couple weeks. Are you itchy? Are you itchy? Okay, let's do a little groundwork. Okay, we're going to do just a hair of groundwork. I generally don't want to have to work them on the ground for 15 minutes before they're ready to get on. So, when they're getting worked every day, they should, be able to kind of figure out from one day to the next. That's looking pretty good. Like to go a little faster. Good. Move the hip over. Good. Now we're going to ask the front to move over. Thank you. Now you can go the other way. Try a little bit. Looking good. Now we'll move the hip over. Good. Yeah. Like I say, if they're really energetic, you might want to do just a little bit more. If they're not listening, definitely do a little bit more. But yeah, after a couple weeks, I don't generally do a ton of it, but I do a little bit just to make sure that they're listening and responsive to what I'm asking them to do, and then we're ready to go get on. Okay, first thing is I want all my horses to get saddled, stand still. We did all that. I generally move them a circle or two around. After a couple of weeks, generally I don't do a ton of groundwork. They're, in daily work, so I want to make, they shouldn't need a ton of lunging in order to be ready. So this one's did a couple circles each way, move the hip over, move the front over. She said, yeah, I still remember it from yesterday. I said, fantastic. I am going to go get on, I teach them all to come get you off the fence or off a mounting block. So I've got my little mounting block, which the barn cat is keeping warm for me. So I'm going to get on that, and I want the horse to come and place itself next to me so that I can get on. Excuse me, kitty cat. So I'm just going to get up there. I'm just going to kind of cluck a little bit. Come, darling. I want her to place herself next to me so that I can get on. But just like that. That's what we're looking for. Then when I go to get on, I want her to stand still. I don't want to have to hold her when I go to get on. I say, if they're a little bit moving around right at the beginning, not a big deal, but I like it when they kind of stand still. And then they just wait for me to move off. Okay. Looks good. We're going to go ahead and move on. So I get to ride all mine with a flag. The ones that are a little spookier, this is going to take a little bit longer, or they might just be a little bit, like this one doesn't care about it all. She's a little bit more quiet than some of them. Yeah, all of them I'm going to be able to get so I can ride them with the flag. I want them to not be scared of it. And like I say, if you do a fairly good job of desensitization on them, they'll figure out that it's not something that they need to be worried about. So, riding with a flag. The next thing I do is I like roping, and so I tend to rope stuff with them. And before I rope something which has a loop in the end of it that could get caught on something and then maybe entangled in it, I use a stock whip. So I get them so that they're used to that thing swinging around them. I don't want them to be worried about the noise and also the whistle, and so I kind of use this to make sure that they're going to be okay with having that rope whistle through the air. Also, there's a little popper on there that, I don't know if you can see it in the video, but a lot of times it'll go back and forth like this, and you can drag it kind of underneath their neck, and some of them, if they're a little looky, will be a little worried about that little thing going underneath their neck. So, yeah, pretty good. We'll crack it a little bit. As soon as they get that good, and yeah, some of them are a little bit more worried. They're going to take a little bit longer. Some of them, they're like, yep, no problem. The pressure is not for me. So, yeah. Now, when I start colts, normally by the end of the first week, I'm starting to ask for a little bit of that lateral movement. Now, of course, I'm able to get the hip over the first ride or two, because that's what I kind of use for my emergency brake. But, after the end of the first week or so, I start working on getting a little bit more of that side pass. I want to be able to pick up, move those front feet and the hind feet over, and then separate them. Just move the hind or just move the front. Once I get that pretty good, then I'm going to start using it in everyday life. And I think opening and closing a gate's really good to kind of help that horse figure out that we have an actual practical application for this seemingly piece of useful skill. And so I want to show them, hey, this is actually something we might ask you to do. So we're going to open and close this gate. I'm going to do a push this time. So I'm going to get the latch. I'm going to back her up just a little bit. We're going to go out the gate. I know there's a step there. You can do it. Good. Move the hip over. Ask her to leg yield back over towards the gate. Good. Doesn't have to be perfect. Like I say, this is a couple weeks along, so it'll get better every time we do it. But yeah, just kind of something to strive for. Okay, we got out to the big arena. Now, I like riding in an arena with some pretty good dirt. Kind of helps them have an even footing so they can, they just perform better. Also helps them with stops and stuff like that. So, yeah, once I get out here, I kind of warm them up a little bit. We're just gonna kind of move around a little bit. I want to see if I can get that front to pivot over here just a little bit. There, like that. Doesn't have to be amazing. Like I say, I just work every day getting the horse just a little bit better at whatever I'm working on. I'm going to see if I can get the hindquarters to step over here now. Leave the front end still. Good. Now we're going to see if we can move the front end to the right. Good. How about the hindquarters to the right? Oh, yeah. Good. I say as we keep riding her, that'll get a little better. I'm gonna go trot around here, walk around a little bit, just kind of warm her up, and we'll do just a little bit of arena work. Work on our stop here. Gonna let my body relax, and when my body slows down, her body should slow down. And that's one of her favorite gaits is stop. So she's like, yep, as long as you're not asking me to go, I'm not gonna go. We're gonna go the other way. If they don't quite get their leads right away at this stage, I'm not too worried about it, but she's fairly good leading, so sometimes they'll be just a little bit off. They won't pick up the right leader. They'll be, feel more comfortable on one than the other. Like I say, I'm not too worried about it at this stage of, like I say, a couple weeks into it, but as they get stronger, I'll develop each one, make sure that both they, first of all, understand how to take each lead, which one I'm asking for, and then also they get strong enough that they can take each one and get pretty balanced. Well, let's go work on some obstacles. First thing we're going to do is go drag this log around a little bit. I'm actually going to do a video on how to get this done a little bit easier with these special magic reins that I'm using. We just got some obstacles out here that some of them natural, some of them man-made, and I just like to have them just go along them. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to ask her to straddle this, and then I'm going to see if I can side pass her off of it. Good. Okay, we're gonna go out on the obstacle course, do a few more. Okay, so I have a bunch of different bridges. I've got different lengths, different widths, different materials, and different places, and I like getting them to go across a bunch of different things. Um, I also have a couple that teeter, and so when I start them off, I get them to go across a bridge that doesn't move first. Once they get confident doing that, then I elevate it just a little bit in the middle. Yesterday, she walked across this one when it was flat, and today I've got it up a little bit. So I don't want it to be a lot of movement, just a little bit. And so we'll get her to, oh yeah. Good. Desensitized to the flag and to dragging stuff and having things on a rope. A lot of times I'll have a little bag with a little dirt or something in it, and I'll pick it up just to my saddle here. You know, they're pretty okay with, you know, stuff that's crinkly. You know, the ones that are more sensitive, this is going to be take a little bit more work to get to. But yeah, I like it just so that they're just kind of used to humans doing crazy things. I tend to be a little bit of a crazy individual, and I want my horse to be used to just things that just, you know, want to be prepared for, you know, all the chaos that life might throw at him. Okay, this is a little obstacle that I came up with quite a few years ago. Kind of really like it. I call it the merry-go-round, and you just kind of walk it around. It makes a little noise. Got a little pipe to hold on to, and basically it's about getting your horse to walk a pretty accurate circle around here while you're holding on to this. Okay, so we've got a bunch of obstacles out here in our Wild Wild West, and we move them around at time to time just to kind of keep things fresh and so it looks different to the horses. So this is our little cowboy curtain, tarp curtain. The more the wind is blowing, the wilder and crazier it looks. But today the wind is fairly calm, so it's a little easier.